will start the presentation. Hello everyone, thank you for coming today. Nice to meet you. Today's presentation is about Mozilla Hub Space for Vancouver Film School's VR/AR development and design course, industry showcase and graduation ceremony. Active Replica is a company located in Vancouver. Our instructor Jacob Irwin is one of co-founders of the company, and the company provides the school a server for this space and help the events and the development. We will start our presentation with an introduction. And before we go any further, please allow us to introduce ourselves. Elia?
Yes, hello everybody, and thank you for attending today. My name is Elia Youssef. I'm from the Middle East. My background is in architecture and design, and I've been working as a 3D generalist and as a visualization artist for about 10 years now. And I've been specializing in Unreal Engine for about 6 to 7 years now. My part in this project was designing and creating the space, so the architecture and the 3D modeling, making sure I optimized the space so everything needed to be optimized geometry-wise, texturing, atlasing, and compressing the textures, light baking, and then figuring out the exporting pipeline from the 3D software to a GLB file. What about you, Keyn?
Hi, I'm Keyn. I'm a VR developer using Unity and Unreal, and I'm going to start working for a company named Metanaut, located in Vancouver. And I'm from South Korea, and I have a background in mechanical engineering and digital design. For this project, I developed the scenes for the space in Spoke and managed communication with instructors to get their opinion about it, and with students to get their asset contribution for their booth. And I also used Blender to make better nav mesh. The program we attended has had industry showcases every cohort, but due to the pandemic, hosting the showcase was impossible. Program lead, Mary Lim, decided to make the event in virtual space. So the project goal was design and develop Mozilla Hub's environment for an industry event and the graduation ceremony.
Yeah, so when dealing with this project, we had a couple of objectives in mind, and the requirements they needed to be very simple and straightforward. So we needed to create one welcome lobby, which is the lobby you all spawned in at the beginning. This welcome lobby, it functions as, first of all, a welcoming space. Second of all, it could help people know how to navigate. So people were present over there all the time to help people know how to navigate and where to go. And the design is very, very similar to the entrance of Vancouver Film School itself. This allows the school to use it as a marketing material for future cohorts. And then the maximum number of people was capped at around 30 people per room. This is why we needed to create separate islands. So we are now currently located on Island 1, and we have a parallel island, which is Island 2. And the students were divided 4 students here and 5 students over there, just to accommodate as little people as we can on the island while keeping everything running smoothly. And both islands, they really needed to be similar, yet distinct in their design.
I'll start the overview, which show you the layout of the spaces. As you experienced, the link sends users to the entry scene. In the actual event, the place was used to help guests to figure out navigation and use of the hub space, as Elia explained. And from 2 portals in the scene, the portals send users to 2 identical spaces, and we divide the space for the students. And the scenes are parallel. We wanted to make it circular, which might be more natural to understand. A spawn point in the hub cannot recognize where users are coming from, so we had to make it parallel to keep the user experience. But to help users distinguishing the two spaces, we made some differentiations, which will be introduced soon. And let me change the slide. And this is the entry scene. As you can see on the right, it's almost the same with actual BFS campus in Vancouver. Elia is very experienced 3D artist, and BFS faculties were very happy with the lizard. And the lines on the bottom are guiding guests to each student's posters to give them hints before getting into each room. And the frame is a portal. It's designed to be 16 by 19 to keep the resolution of the link.
Perfect. Now, oops, sorry about that. Now, as we said before, we are currently located on Island 1. And for the design decision, we decided to go with an island because it makes a lot more sense than being inside an enclosed space. That's number one. So technically, you spawn first at the left side of the image, where you can see the spawning point, the floating circular island, and then you would simply walk onto the island itself, which contains an outdoor space that we are in now, and sort of a small enclosed pavilion space, which allows the students to have each one have one booth. The booth will have one board explaining about the student, the second board explaining about the project, and a small table to allow them to demonstrate some of the 3D models inside of their project. Now, for this island, we went with a sort of a floating sea theme, and then an attractive sunset theme as well. Hence, you see the sky above us is a sunset/night mood, and then the color of the lights is a bit warm to accommodate for the sunset. And that's for island number 1. Now, for island number 2, the design is very similar, just to allow us to speed up the process. However, there are some distinguished different features. The first feature is the lighting of the scene is way different. It's noon. We can visit the scene when we're done with the presentation now. And then some colors are different. And then the background, we used a ready-made photogrammetry captured mountain scene just to make this space a bit more distinguished. And that other space allows 5 students to display their works as well. Yeah. Now, other distinguished features, and making the space a bit big to accommodate everybody, it allowed us to, one, host the industry event, which had a lot of people. At one point, we were about 80 to 90 people present in both rooms, or in the 3 rooms. Second, it allowed us to to have our graduation venue as well, which we can see on the lower images. Hence why we have this big screen right here, which we managed to huddle around all together when we were doing the graduation part of it. Now, it was a really interesting process and learning experience because this was our first time working in hubs, even though we're working in this field for a long time now. And we do have some cool design takeaways for future projects. The first takeaway was modularity in design, and this is something obvious when it comes to, let's say, environment art or game design. But this was really important as well in this hub space because we needed to cut down development time. We were a bit short on time. And then the assets needed to be reused very quickly and very efficiently. The second key takeaway in design is design should be similar to real life. Even though we have the flexibility to make something way cooler than real life, it has to be a bit grounded in reality just to allow the users to feel a bit more comfortable when walking around. Hence why we have correct measurements of the staircases, a neat seating area behind you, etc. Whereas for the lighting, a lot of effort was placed on the lighting and the light baking process. This took the most time, and a lot of iterations were considered just to make the lighting feel more comfortable. Even though the spaces had to be a bit cartoonish and low poly, the lighting did accentuate it and make it more realistic.
Yeah, three key takeaways in development. First is make user. Sorry, Elia? Okay. First is make user less confusing in terms of spawn point. If you have only one spawn point, users can be spawned in the same space. They could feel awkward when they are overlapping with each other in their personal spaces. And as Elia explained, we gave differentiations for 2 looms. And second is project size. To hold maximum 30 people in every loom, we have to keep the project optimized. We made the scene strictly under 30 megabyte, and to reduce the draw call, we placed minimum object in Spoke. And Elia made all the models and textures tightly optimized. Last is Nav Mesh, which I got help from Luis from the company Active Replica. Spoke calls them mesh flow plan, and which can be auto-generated, but it's tricky to make perfect. To solve that, we divide the meshes into 2 groups in Blender, which are collidable and non-collidable. Collidable is for ground where users actually need to walk around, and non-collidable is for trees, walls, and tables, which are okay to be walked through. And make them into 2 different GLB files, and we turn off colliding in non-collidable GLB file in Spoke. Here are our contact information. Elia has incredible portfolio in his website, and he's also uploading video portfolios on his YouTube channel as well. And I have a development blog, which you can check my design decisions for my graduation project from BFS and my future development process. And feel free to take a screenshot and reach out to us to chat about VR development or anything you want to talk about. Thank you so much for your taking time out of your busy schedule, and please ask us any questions.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is awesome. Can you talk a little bit more about kind of how the project came to exist in the first place?
You want to take it, Keyn, or should I?
Yeah, you can take it.
Right. As Keyn explained in the beginning, every year VFS hosts like an industry showcase event for every part and every cohort. Like digital design, they get their own industry event. Gaming development get their own industry event, and VR AR as well. Now the problem is, due to the restrictions nowadays, gatherings are not possible, and many students are in their own country doing the program online. So we needed to create something virtual just to accommodate this process, the industry showcase and the graduation event. And VFS already had one experiment last year with Spoke and with Mozilla Hubs. However, it was on a smaller scale and it was more experimental. And this time we had to raise the bar high. And luckily, VFS has Keyn as a great developer. He managed to figure out everything in Spoke and Hubs. And luckily, I have some modest experience in 3D modeling and rendering. So I managed to create the scenes.
Awesome. We do have like a number of people here who work on the product. Do you have any like suggestions for us or things that you found really painful or even things that worked really well that you wanted to kind of like let us know were excellent parts of the platform? Any feedback you might have?
I can definitely answer
Don't be shy about being negative if you need to.
No worries.
Okay.
I can answer the 3D part, and Keyn knows more about the Spoke and development part. As for the 3D part, it's a bit difficult to crush down the product to this many little polygons and this many little megabyte size. Mm-hmm. So compression is a bit difficult. It does work definitely, but it lowers a bit the quality of the product. Hence why if you look on the ground, there is a bit of pixelation around the lights, etc. That's the only pain, but definitely we do understand that this is happening online, being hosted online, which is the trade-off. It's available to more people with older devices, but the trade-off is going to be a bit low poly and not as polished. What about the Spoke part, Keyn?
Yeah, for the Spoke, first it was very surprising that it's so easy to make a scene and publish without any headache. That was amazing. But for in this book, there was like I said, there is a problem with the nav mesh. We had to divide the scene by 2. If we don't, the nav mesh causes a problem with it. But which seems natural because it's not supported every object can be divided into each. So next is I tried a Blender export version of mic and speaker. I tried several times, but I found that it was not working. And maybe it's just a plugin, but there's some lack of explanation how to use it. So I hope if document is more descriptive, it would be better. And otherwise, it was very straightforward and really easy to use. So what else?
The speaker thing, actually, I think it's just not a feature that's on Hub's Cloud yet, so that's why it wasn't working for you.
Oh, okay.
I think it might be now as of the release that went out a few days ago. I'm not positive, but it definitely wasn't out before then. And then for the nav mesh stuff, yeah, like definitely the auto generation in Spoke can be pretty tricky to get right. One thing you can do if you're working on scenes in the future is you can actually, with the Blender exporter, and I think actually in Spoke too, specify a completely custom nav mesh, so you can just literally make a mesh in Blender and then make that the nav mesh.
Oh, that's amazing. I should have checked more. Thank you so much, Tom.
Yeah, you still have to like figure out how to make one by like you're kind of making one by hand, but it can be done.
Yeah, otherwise it's amazing. Yeah.
It's really nice.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I was actually curious. You spent a lot of time thinking about layout for the event and thinking about how people would get through it, and yeah, I'm curious what the how that worked out. Did you find people were not getting lost? Did you find they were comfortable moving around, things like that?
Mm-hmm. The main feature that helped a lot or actually two features. The first one is we had 2 dedicated people at the entrance to help out incoming visitors, just to know how to at least navigate, whether in PC and VR, and just to help them navigate the space. The second feature was at the entrance and at each spawn or spawn point end portal, you can find a sort of a banner on the ground that will tell you which room where you are and then which room you're going to. This helped people more, but we did notice something interesting, that most people did congregate in one island, not 2 islands. So they were going back and forth, but for some reason everybody congregated in the second island for some reason. Probably because there was a lot of people there, and then just people tend to congregate together. That's why maybe.
Yeah, we've sort of found that people will gather wherever the most people are.
Yeah,
exactly.
And so if it happens to be that one place, that's just where it is.
Did I don't know if you saw in the chat, there's a question from Crimson. Did you use Blender to optimize the photogrammetry model of the mountain range?
Oh, thank you for the question, Chris. We should have mentioned that the mountain for the Loom 2 is provided from the company Active Replica. So we don't know the detail about how they made it, but it was very well optimized one.
Well, yeah, I wanted to ask, what was the relationship that you had with Active Replica? Because we've seen some of their other work that they've done as well, and I'd love to know sort of how they were involved.
Oh yeah, actually, the co-founder of the company was one of our instructors in the course, and he and the project lead Mary talk about this project, and they pitch to the students that who wants to take the project, and I and Elia decided to do that, and that's how it happened. And Active Replica borrowed their server to the VFS to make this space working, and they also helped the Twitch streaming on the event, and help us to how to organize the event. And like I said, the Luis from the company also helped us the development.
Super cool.
And yeah, I just saw somebody requested we do a tour. Definitely, if there are no more questions, we can definitely do a tour. You can check out also the projects of the students. They're everywhere, like around the pavilion on the inside here. We have 4 different projects, including mine and Keyn's. And yeah, we can start the tour whenever you feel free.
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it.
Any other questions before we move on? Oh yeah, can you show the camera avatar that appeared in the slides?
Oh yeah. Actually, that's also from the company, Active Replica. One sec. Oh, I shouldn't have. Yep. You see the avatar? Or...
Oh, cute. So it's like a little bot holding a camera?
Yeah.
Are you guys able to, are you folks able to put that on and like show us in person what the camera, the Active Replica camera looks like?
So could you tell me the question again?
Oh yeah, the avatar that has the camera, do you folks have access to it so we can see what it looks like in, I want to say real life, but it's like in real virtual space, so we can kind of like look at it a little bit closer?
Oh, actually, there was a login from the company worker.
Oh, okay, so
yeah.
it was on his account, okay.
Yeah.
There was a request to put the contact info page again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so regarding the contact info, we are currently located here in BC, both of us in Vancouver. And luckily, we're both in the market for the job right now. So Keyn, from his side of things, he's a great developer. He's even better than some of the instructors that we have had at developing. He's really good. And from my end, like I've been doing this for around 10 years now. And everybody knows like Unreal Engine is all the rage now. I've been working in it since the release of version 4. So we're both in the market if anybody's interested.
You guys should both definitely post to the work for hire channel in our Discord community. There's always people looking for both artists and
Oh. Would you send us the invitation if that's okay? Or we can find a link.
Yeah.
We would love to join.
Oh yeah, I'll send you guys the invite.
Oh, thank you so much for that.
Who wants
Our
to take
team
it to?
itself, just a heads up, we don't hire very often. We're a pretty small team, but when we do post things, they'll often go into the announcements channel in Discord and the Mozilla website as well too. So just a heads up, but we don't have any open roles at this time. We just hired some folks too, but just as a heads up, if you are wanting to keep working with hubs, and there are other companies in our community that hire for hubs developers. I think we've seen some pretty exciting ones hiring in the last little while. So in that work for hire channel too, if you're looking for stuff, sometimes people do post some related jobs there.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you.
No problem. Shall we begin the tour?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Please follow us.
How did this size of room feel compared to like the number of people that were in it? Like, did it feel really empty or did it feel pretty busy when you had people in there?
It was actually okay. The sound attenuation is working well. So the rooms were a bit smaller at first, and then we just decided to scale everything on the X and Y axis just to make it a bit more spacious. If anybody wants to check out the second island, it's
Yeah, you asked about, or you mentioned that everyone kind of gathered in the same spot together. Were there multiple times that people gathered together, and was it like physically in the same spot, or did you just find that generally people hung out where other people were?
in general, yeah. And for some reason, as I said, this exact island right here, probably
Really?
because it's more lit
Wow.
and it has the mountain view. The event wasn't very long, so everybody stayed in hubs for like an hour, I guess, mostly. And mostly in this room.
Did you shrink down on purpose?
How did you do that? That's cool.
Sorry, Dom Dom's head position is just really funny.
I see in this orientation too, like everything's red.